Like some of my students, they would have put down black tape on their garage.
Yeah.
And an X and a cross. And they would follow that and just continue doing it and spend even 15 minutes or 20 minutes a day just doing the 8 basic movements, because everything forms around these 8 basic movements.
Right.
When you work a staff, it's the 8 basic movements. When you're moving with the sword, it's the 8 basic movements. When you're doing knife fighting, 8 basic movements. When you're unarmed combat, it's 8 basic movements. So everything is formed on this foundational root system of the 8 basic movements, the Mohapos Savaki. Okay, so there's Pat Dumas with fight choreography training. We're doing a Shanna Toft here. And what we're doing is foundational basics, footwork, agility. It comes into play whether it's with martial arts, self-defense, or whether it's fight choreography. Everything stems around these 8 basic directional movements. So that's what we're working on right now. Having proper foot and body and mind balance and agility is very crucial. And being able to move, whether you're unarmed in self-defense, whether you're armed in defense, whether you got a knife, whether you got a stick, whether you got a gun, whether you're unarmed, whether you're doing fight choreography and you got another opponent coming in and they're swinging with the weapon, whether it's a stick or whether it's knife fighting or whatever, they got to be able to move. You got to be able to move. You got to have that agility, the speed of agility, the coordination of your feet, your body, and your mind together to where you're not moving and falling over yourself. You got the balance, you have the proper distancing, and the fight choreographer doesn't have to continue to spend time with you. No, you're too close, you're going to get hit, or you need to back up more, or blah, blah, blah. So with this training, she's already learning this, and then we go into, it's all throughout the beginner area, everything forms around this, as well as the intermediate and advanced training that we cover. 3 months of training each. And it's the foundational basics. So the body always has to be trained. If you don't train physically, then even the basic movements are foreign to your mind and to your balance and coordination. Once you develop that, then you build it from there. It's like a trunk. It's like a tree with the roots. The tree's not going to form, and the leaves and branches aren't going to form without the roots. These are the roots. And you got to set the roots first. Okay, so what we already did was the stepping movements, or 8 directional movements. Now we're working on leaping, moving, creating a distance in timing with different directions. So whether it's in self-defense or I'm doing a fight scene and I come in with a stick, she's got to be able to get out of the way and then still sell the shot. You know, if I'm coming around sideways, you got to be able to create the distance so she doesn't get hit, so me as the fighter don't hit her by accident, and then there's problems on set. We got an injury, we got medical, whatever situation. So learning just the basic elements of distancing, timing, and coordination and balance is very vital to what we're doing here. Okay, so back here, back to the center. From here, if she's going back at an angle, she points the foot at whatever angle we're going to do the leaping. Whether it's here or whether it's back at an angle, then I'm crossing over, I'm pointing the foot back to the center point. If I'm going, when you go back at an angle, it can be behind this way or in front. It's really what you prefer, but typically when you go straight back, like this, I'm moving the foot behind me. Watch that. If I go forward, I point the foot forward, and the foot goes in front when I leap into my opponent. If I'm going for a leaping type, and the more you do it, the more distance you can get. More practice. Practice makes perfect. Okay, so when I go straight back, here, I'm stepping back. Since I'm going straight back, I'm not necessarily turning the foot. Now I can if I'm going and I'm pointing my direction this way. If I suddenly got to turn and go for a door, I'm turning the foot, I'm leaping forward and going through the door. But if my opponent's still here, I'm not necessarily turning my body away from him. I want to turn my back on him like that. So I'm just more or less stepping back, and then my foot goes behind as I do my leap. So from here, I'm going back, and then I create that distance. But see, my feet are still in alignment on the line. My knees are still bent. I'm low. My center of gravity, I'm still here. Now in martial arts, in the fight choreography, it might be more like, more dynamic. You know, whatever stance it might be, you know, you see in the films, you know, it's just more dynamic. You can be down low, more like this, and just create more of a dynamic type position, but we start with the foundational basics of how it would be in real, and then we can add to that more of the animated postures and poses and things. So when you go here, you want to already step back, and then you do your leaping motion, which is the foot behind the leg to create that distance.
That's what's going on there.
Right.
Okay.
You're trying to do it all together at one time.
Overthinking, too. I'm going to start this way.
Okay. Also, your balance is better as soon as if your initial position, as you step back, your back foot is at an angle. Right here. Now bend your knee. Okay? You're more stable in this position. Just because of how your body is angled, you have a better stability than if your foot is straight out, pointed straight out at me. So that's why that back foot is angled out that way.
Okay.
Okay?
It wasn't feeling right before,
Yeah.
so that feels better. And I can just do this and do
Right.
that again.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's better.
Yeah.
That's better. A lot better.
So you know you're getting good at it when you do the moves, your feet are in alignment, you're landing without being off balance.
Right.
You don't feel your body off balance, and your arms aren't way out here like this.
Right.
And you can just do it naturally like that.
Yep.
No hands, no arms, and you land solid, you land with good balance, you create that distance. That's the difference in a beginner and the more you progress.
Right.
And that's vital in both self-defense and fight choreography. Okay?
That's something that needs to be practiced a lot,
Yeah,
too.
it is.
Is that
Your foundation is the most important. Have a strong foundational movements and agility and balance, coordination and distancing and timing. Okay? Okay. That was more
a
graceful.
little bit better?
A little bit more graceful, yeah.
A little bit better there.
Yeah. Postures, and it kind of fits in with or can work with self-defense. It's different though. It's obviously, you know, more animated and more dynamic, you know, in front of the film versus in self-defense type situations. But just some stuff that I've been sharing with Shanna is basic directional moves and selling the punch, selling the kick. You know, from facial expression to body expression. It's important for even the other person who's receiving to be able to sell it in a way that it's helping the other person look good too. You're both out to help each other look good on film in front of the camera. So whether I'm trying to sell it and over exaggerating, I'm having that facial expression, I want to use my whole body expression with it. And it doesn't have to be contact, you know. I mean, in some films that I know, some filmmakers out there that they do have, you know, some contact, 20-30% contact, and then you add in the effects, and it can make it look pretty real, you know. But others that are less experienced don't do that, and they still can maintain a distance. And through the camera angles, we can fool the, you know, what's behind it.
With the trick photography.
Trick photography. So, but you still got to sell it. So that's one thing that we were covering, right?
Right.
So what would be your feedback on what we've covered today?
You've got to make sure, like especially when you're throwing the punches, that you are following through and over exaggerating,
Yeah.
for sure, so that there is no contact, but there is the idea that he's
It's
actually
powerful.
been hit
Yeah.
on camera. Also, footwork is really super important to make sure you practice with the 8 different directions. I know I need to do a lot of practice with some of the directions, with the stances and with the leaping stances. So one thing that Patrick told me about is maybe putting some black tape on the garage floor and practicing 15 minutes a day or however often you can do that. We're actually going to do that at home, and I will be held accountable for doing that. So next time we train, we will have a lot more foundational work done. So it's important not only to come and do the training, but to practice at home, because everything builds off of those 8 directions. And if you don't have those down, you're not going to be able to effectively move forward with the training.
Yeah, so and what I teach with the fight choreography is everything, whether it's unarmed or knife moves or stick moves or sword moves, whatever it might be, staff moves, and you're doing fight scenes, it's based off this 8-directional understanding. And the same thing actually applies in real self-defense. And that's where it comes from. It stems from realistic self-defense applications of the Budo system that I teach. So applying it in the fight choreography as well, now it's coming from a real fight type application, defensive and offensive application, with and without the weapons. Another thing is telegraphing the moves and being able to telegraph. In a real fight situation, you don't want to telegraph your movements, your punches or kicks or elbows or whatever. It's just there, you know, whereas in fight choreography, we're coming back and we're overextending, you know, to sell that whole movement. So that's what things that we're covering in the basics and the first starting out with our training here.
One thing there is I did not make him look good because I did not properly react either when he was throwing his punch, because I was still closed here. To make him look good, I would need to be more open and have that expression going along with the hit that we're portraying.
Yeah. So, and that's with both characters. So if I'm portraying in a fight scene, you know, whatever action it might be, I don't want to just step in and not just telegraph and not just overextend, but I'm also showing that facial expression. I get the whole body in like this, and it's a matter of expressing it through the face, you know, just like Bruce Lee did, just like Donnie Yen does, and Jet Li, and all those other masters out there that are on film, and they express it through their martial arts in their fight choreography. You can see it in their face. You know, it's not just the makeup and sweat and blood or whatever is added in the special effects part of it, but you got to follow through with it from start to finish, even on the ground. When you're on the ground, you still got that facial expression. You're still showing that injury, you know, and you're getting back up. You still got to sell it. You don't want to get, you know, a full force blown hit, you know, to the ribs and then get back up and you're good to go, and you're not like, you know, like that. So we're covering little things like this, and it's the little details that people pick up.
Right.
In film, they're gonna pick up the little details. It's like she didn't even look like she got hurt.
Right.
He didn't even look like he was, you know, wanting to hurt her, or vice versa. You know, so having that full body facial expression. So this is what we're covering right now in this fight choreography training. And until next time, thanks for watching.
Thank you.